Today on Investigate TV Plus, natural gas leaks going undetected and posing incredible risk to your family. We uncover and tell you what gas companies do and do not have to report.
Plus, kids getting into grown-up gummies.
You get into like the ER when you show up and they're like, how many did you consume? And you're like, I don't know what was left in the bottle.
Adult candy that has a soaring number of children headed to the hospital.
And bounce around one of the largest pinball machine collections in the world.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Nearly 3 million miles of pipelines are pumping natural gas across the U.S., which eventually makes its way into our homes.
But natural gas leaks throughout the system have caused hundreds of explosions and fires in the last decade, claiming dozens of lives and destroying entire neighborhoods.
Josie Sturman investigates the pipeline dangers that could put your family at risk.
Where do you have it? Report out.
It happens often with no warning.
We have a house explosion. Holy.
A silent threat lurking beneath the ground, suddenly igniting. Buildings blown apart in an instant.
Somebody's in there.
Lives lost and forever changed.
Right there, under the couch.
By natural gas leaks that linger and turn catastrophic.
I saw a ball of flame coming at me.
Wayne Sargent survived it. Stunning photos show the day the home his grandfather built nearly 100 years ago exploded after natural gas from an underground leak nearby built up in his basement.
It's something that it damaged and it hurt so much. The pain, it never goes away.
It's pain others have felt in shocking incidents across the nation. In 2010, a pipeline ruptured underneath a neighborhood in San Bruno, California, sending natural gas spewing out of a crater 72 feet long. In 2018, footage shows the aftermath of explosions and fires that rocked 3 towns outside Boston, after investigators determined failures in the engineering management of an ongoing project mistakenly sent the full pressure of the natural gas system into customers' homes. And in 2019, a Ring camera in Philadelphia captured this: crews battling an enormous fire that erupted following a natural gas leak. A lawsuit blamed the leak on a crack in the city's aging, corroded pipes. Our investigative team spent months analyzing 12 years worth of data from PHMSA, the Federal Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. We found that since 2010, there have been more than 2,700 significant gas leak incidents across the country. 362 of those resulted in explosions. And in the last 12 years, major leak incidents have injured nearly 700 people and killed more than 140.
These explosions, they're not one-off. They're not isolated.
Matt Cassell is with the U.S. Public Interest Research Group, or PIRG.
There are these constant and continuous leaks in our system, in the pipelines that are bringing the gas to our homes that, pose this risk that they could light or explode really at any time.
The risk, PIRG believes, is even higher, given only a fraction of the nation's leaks have to be disclosed to the government.
Almost all of our leaks are caused by 2 things.
Christina Sames is the Vice President for Safety Operations and Security for the American Gas Association, which represents the distributors, the companies that deliver gas into our houses. She points out excavation damage and outside forces from things like cars hitting gas meters account for more than half of all leaks and serious incidents associated with distribution lines. But our data digging also shows at least 20% of the distribution incidents were linked to factors like incorrect operation, equipment failures, and corrosion.
Every one of these, you go back and you say, what could we do to stop this from ever occurring again? And in many cases, it's just continuing on with the technology to get it to the next level.
Technology that helps with what the industry calls integrity management. where companies look for threats to the lines that move gas around the nation and decide what should be replaced, repaired, or watched. Leak surveys are a key part of that, but the federal requirements only call for gas companies to do those inspections once a year in business districts and once every 5 years in less populated areas. SAME says most operators go beyond those requirements. But even when they spot a leak and make a repair, it doesn't always mean the problem is solved.
I was living in a different kind of ignorance, I guess, prior to coming out here with the camera.
After being told by her gas company last year that a series of leaks on her Pennsylvania street had been fixed, Melissa Ostroff decided to do her own inspection, taking out a special gas detection imaging camera she happened to have for her job as a certified thermographer.
It is specially calibrated to see hydrocarbons, including methane, that would otherwise be invisible to the naked eye.
Ostroff captured these images, showing natural gas flowing out of a manhole cover on the street between her apartment and an elementary school. What do you think would have happened on this street if you and that special gear hadn't detected these leaks?
I mean, there's no way to know what would have happened, but there could have been an explosion potentially.
But there's no federal requirement for companies to immediately or directly notify the public about the leaks they find, how they've been graded for risk, and when they'll be repaired. If it's potentially impacting your house, they will make sure you're evacuated. They're going to take the precautions to keep you safe. Wayne Sargent doesn't feel that way. Do you think you'll ever truly be able to put this completely behind you?
I don't think so. It's always with me.
The federal infrastructure package passed in 2021 includes $1 billion in grant funding allocated for the repair, rehabilitation, or replacement of natural gas pipelines across the country.
The goal, according to the Biden administration, is to reduce the number of gas leak incidents and the fatalities that come with them.
Our investigation also found companies across the country are working to detect gas leaks with the use of different tools. There are cars that can pick up leaks while driving by, and drones that can spot accidental emissions from miles away.
It's pretty sensitive.
For now, handheld leak detectors at the street level are still the go-to, with crews conducting routine surveys to check for gas in the air.
Recruiting new soldiers is proving to be more difficult than ever. Coming up, the requirements stopping some young adults from enlisting.
Even though you might not be there yet, you can definitely work at it.
But first, cannabis mistaken for candy.
I think the big word is poison.
Next on Investigate TV Plus, we show you the test to keep your kids safe.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories in full episodes. It comes in all shapes and colors, looking like candy or cookies, but it packs a potentially powerful pot punch.
How many did you eat? Did you touch it? Did you swallow it? It's a fear that nobody wants to walk in and have to experience with a child.
But numbers from the National Poison Data System show a rapid rise in children under the age of 5 eating THC edibles.
It's a medicine, it's a poison, it's something that can harm a smaller child, and it should have the same precautions as anything else that's dangerous to a child.
As more than 20 states have legalized recreational marijuana, the FDA warned of serious illness when young hands get a hold of cannabis edibles.
We show you the regulations and the dangers being associated with these THC treats.
A couple of students who brought to school some candy edibles, and they were giving those to other kids.
In St. Louis, the Northside Community School dealt with the problem firsthand. A couple of 8th graders shared some cannabis-infused candies with other classmates.
6 students in all, 3 went to the hospital. All 3 of them were doing fine. The students who had brought the edibles, we referred them to law enforcement.
School officials believe this is connected to curiosity, one that brings risk of vomiting, anxiety, and panic attacks, psychotic episodes, and respiratory and heart problems. To demonstrate how difficult it can be to tell the difference between candy and cannabis, our investigators enlisted the help of a Portland, Oregon dispensary.
I mean, you can look at these and see how similar they are, and these are great examples.
Then we hit the streets, asking the public.
Pot or not? One on each is an edible and one is not the pot. That is not the pot. They look similar. The pot may be this one. I don't know. It's not. Pot? That's the candy. That's the pot. They can fool me. So which one in each picture do you think is the pot?
Blue.
No, the white or pot.
I almost.
This one? Other one. And this one? Other one. Other one. They look pretty similar. Yeah.
So in this pot quiz, everyone asked got at least a couple, if not all, wrong.
Yeah, they look very similar.
Well, mostly everyone.
This is an edible. Yes. This one?
Yes.
I'm gonna go with these.
Yes. 100. How do you feel?
No, I feel like I've done way too much edible.
But some marijuana in this form can be confusing and deceptive for young children.
These are addictive, poisonous substances.
Stephanie Siite works in Arizona to educate children and parents about the dangers of drugs. She says marijuana's evolution from the joint in the 1960s to the pot-infused gummy bears of today has been especially dangerous to young children.
One kid might just think it's candy. A little toddler might pick that up. The family pet might grab that and chew on that.
Poison centers across the country report a dramatic rise in the number of calls they've received regarding children under the age of 12 exposed to cannabis edibles. The centers reported 187 calls in 2016 and more than 4,300 calls in 2021.
Younger kids have a propensity to eat candies and sweets and desserts and cakes, and certainly the look-alike products have been ones that we've seen exposures to.
We should note there are strict packaging rules in many states to crack down on kids getting into edibles, such as the product must leave the dispensary in some type of child-proof packaging, and you can't use things like cartoon characters or other images that appeal to kids.
I think the big word is poison.
Still, Stephanie Siite says lawmakers need to do even more to ensure kids stay safe.
We 100% need more regulations.
A report from the medical journal Pediatrics finds nearly 91% of edible exposures happen in the child's own home.
Still ahead, new tactics to fill the ranks. An in-depth look at how one state's National Guard is using social media to get your teenagers' attention.
If they're targeting specific phone numbers, then it may just be those phone numbers. If they are sending it out en masse, it could be anybody.
Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to InvestigateTV Plus on all social media platforms. According to the Department of Defense, a majority of young adults in the U.S. are not fit to serve. It's a reason the Government Accountability Office believes the U.S. military is facing its most challenging recruitment environment in 15 years.
In 2022, the DoD says the Marine Corps was the only branch to make their recruiting goal, while the Associated Press reports the Army missed their goal by 15,000 soldiers.
Heather Graff investigates what's being done to get those numbers back up.
As I got older, I kind of wanted more opportunity than what the small town had to offer.
Tennessee native Robert Bolton joined the Army during the COVID-19 pandemic and says for him, the benefits were enough to sign on.
The college, the health insurance, not having to worry as much about like paying as much out of pocket and just being able to have that stable income every single month.
In 1973, the U.S. military became an all-volunteer force, but 50 years later, the Department of Defense says it's faced increasing challenges in recruiting people to serve. And Sergeant First Class Kevin Obra with the Nashville Recruiting Battalion has seen several key issues, including what he calls a knowledge gap.
People that have served previously slowly are declining.
So the information being passed to the younger generation has also decreased as well.
According to a 2020 DoD study, 7 out of 10 people in the U.S. between the ages of 17 and 24 do not qualify for military service. 44% of those not qualified missed out for reasons including being overweight, drug use, and medical or physical health. But there are a number of steps being taken to combat the lower trends, including the Future Soldiers Preparatory Course.
It's like a ASVAB preparation course per se. So they go through, they get prepared academically and physically in order to take the ASVAB test at the end and increase their scores.
In August 2022, the Army launched the 90-day program based out of Fort Jackson, South Carolina. The Army says by the end of the year, more than 3,200 students attended the course. 92% of them then graduated and continued training.
It just shows that even though you might not be there yet, you can definitely work at it, and we will make sure that you're able to get the same opportunity as everyone else.
To fill their ranks, the Georgia National Guard turned to geofencing.
They used targeted ads pinged directly to social media apps within a mile radius of 67 Atlanta schools.
You basically are setting up a perimeter around a particular area.
Paperwork for the program shows the Guard is targeting military-age students 17 to 24. But Angie Boy with the Center for Safe and Healthy Children says geofencing ads don't know the phone user's age.
Depending on how they are setting their parameters up, if they're targeting specific phone numbers, then it may just be those phone numbers. If they are sending it out en masse, it could be anybody.
We want to show you ways to control those settings. Boy recommends switching off the location on your child's social media apps.
We start with what the phone comes with.
Private companies use the same method, but attorney Ben Lind with the American Civil Liberties Union says there are some differences.
It has to be fundamentally different because it's something that both the international community and federal law has set some pretty specific guidelines on what is acceptable.
By law, schools can provide the military with students' phone numbers, but the National Guard said it won't be hanging on to any information through the geofencing process.
Despite challenges in recruiting, the Department of Defense says the U.S. military's retention numbers are, quote, outstanding. In 2022, every service met its goal.
Coming up, a celebration of pop culture.
We get people that'll fly out, this is their vacation, to come to Hillsboro, Oregon, and they'll be here open to close.
We'll show you where you can explore aisle after aisle of nostalgic pinball machines next. Tension builds in the coils until flippers release steel and chimes. The sound of pinball machines might bring to mind your childhood glee from trips to the arcade. Any childhood glee? Pinball machines for you?
You know, I was never any good at it, so I don't know if I'd call it glee. It was more frustration.
Wasting money, wasting those quarters, putting the machines. Oh well.
Yeah, well, Joe Vithiathil explores a unique museum in Oregon where you might find your favorite game.
On an otherwise quiet block, a loud, vibrant, playful memory waits around every corner.
This thing just keeps going and going, man. Good grief.
Next level is a museum, arcade, and celebration of all things pop culture. At its center, one of the largest collections of pinball machines in the world.
Whoa, that's like totally rad.
There's something very tactile about pinball. So the actual flipping of the buttons and the feeling the kinetic energy of the ball just has a different feel to it.
It all began as a private collection up until about 6 years ago when the owners decided that they should put these machines to good use. So they built out this interactive museum where you can play and learn.
You have games I've never seen before.
For example, this pool-themed machine, one of just 10 that was made in the entire world. Or this one, designed by former NASA employees where the ball orbits around different obstacles.
This is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, so this would be just one of less than 1,000 pieces they made of this.
All told, there are 238 pinball machines, the fourth largest collection in the world, combined with 265 stand-up arcade games.
If you stacked all of our pinball machines and arcade games on top of one another, we'd be taller than Burj Khalifa, which is the world's tallest building.
But the thing about Next Level is that there's a lot more to see than just games. In fact, just about every inch of this 20,000 square foot facility is filled with just about any collectible you can imagine. Comic books, movie posters, albums, action figures, TV trays, not to mention exactly 3,142 different lunch boxes. And if you want to see all of this, leave the quarters at home. You just pay a flat fee of $20, and then you can see and play whatever you want as much as you want.
That's what's so fun about the place is, you know, you forget about the game that you had in your childhood until you see it, and then you get this really cool reaction.
Speaking of which, I played this game, roller games, every day when I was like in 8th grade. Oh my gosh.
So we get people that'll fly out, this is their vacation, to come to Hillsboro, Oregon, and they'll be here open to close Thursday to Sunday.
So just remember, history isn't always drab and dusty. Sometimes it can be colorful, loud, and have you bouncing off the wall, whether you win or lose. Oh, come on! Nothing has changed.
That was fun to watch. Joe actually gets to go to some pretty cool places.
He picked that one for a reason. He wanted to go back to his teenage years. I can see the 10-year-old version of me going crazy in there, spending hours driving my parents crazy.
We'll have to plan a trip there.
Deal.
Well, pinball was actually illegal in some places and still is.
Yeah, in South Carolina, playing pinball is illegal for anyone under the age of 18. State lawmakers tried in 2022 and 23 to change the law, but attempts were unsuccessful. And that's it for us from Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Thanks for watching.
Next time on Investigate TV Plus, the cost of healthcare should be a click away.
I wish I had known how much this was going to cost.
But we discovered some consumers are still having a tough time finding prices.